July, and enjoyed it doing whatever you enjoy doing on 4th of July, whether it's the lake, the beach, the golf course, the movie, whatever you plan to do. Hope you had a good time. We got JC on the Titan MR hotline. Good morning, JC. How are
Yeah,
you?
as surviving the heat advisories in America right now, the peninsula of Florida, the northern part of Texas and Oklahoma, and the southern part of Texas with Mexico are the three areas with heat advisories. And I think it's wonderful because it's July and everybody's going crazy about 90-degree weather in July in Florida. But the beaches are full. The weather is great for golf if you can handle the heat, and everything is great. QB,
I've never understood how people complain about the heat playing golf.
I don't either.
Because here's the thing, you got plenty of beverages that you can put in your cart, cooler, cart girls, whatever. You can hydrate plenty.
You got a roof on your
There's
cart.
yeah, you got a roof on the golf cart. There's plenty of trees that when another guy's hitting, you can go put your cart underneath.
Yeah.
I've just never understood why people, it's too hot, I'm not going to play today. Really?
Well, the heat only bothers me if I'm in a slow, if it's slow play and there's groups everywhere and you can't control yourself. When I was at the St. John's Muni 2 days ago, it was such slow play that we quit after 9 because you can't just sit still and watch others golf.
Well, I would love to be able to host. I may do this.
Okay.
I don't know how to do it, but I may have my podcast people say, we're going to do fast golf with Shane Matthews, how to play fast golf, because nothing is worse than JC and his partner drive to JC's ball. Both of y'all watch you hit the shot, and y'all get back in the cart and then drive over to your partners. That ain't the way you play golf.
Get
your ass out of the cart and walk to your ball and be prepared to hit. It's unbelievable how these people slow down a damn golf course.
What JC are you talking about? I know it isn't me or the Florida coach. Slow play is awful. But sometimes you're in a situation where every tee time, every 7 minutes is booked for 24 hours or whatever, 18 hours. It's
7 minutes isn't long enough. Whoever's doing that
it's not
idiots.
Well, you're right. They're just trying to get as many groups out there on the course to try to make as much money. Do you know, QB, that the St. Johns County Municipal Golf Course off 207 in St. Johns County had an infusion from the county of $8 million? Could you imagine if Alachua County put $8 million, which by today's standards isn't even really that much money, but if they infused $8 million into anything recreational in the county of Alachua?
That'll never happen. We'll all be dead by the time that happens.
Just think of City of Gainesville. $8 million for St. Johns County went into this community. They redid a lot of things there. Ironwood is rotting at its core right now.
Well, not even that, as you said, just recreational athletic.
Anything.
I mean, we have the worst Little League baseball fields in the history of the world.
Football. How about high school football?
Oh, don't even get me started on that. I don't know where we're going on this tangent, but it's truly amazing when you drive to St. Johns County or you drive to Columbia County or any surroundings, Marion County, Little League baseball parks. Yeah. But it's a shame. So it'll never happen here.
They don't want it. Yeah, they don't want it there. But that's the only place
they rather. I don't know what they rather invest in.
That's the only place they don't want it is Alachua County. But I will say.
So hang on. Daniel wants to know on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel. How did you do on the square greens at the St. Johns County Muni? Are all the greens square?
Well, they're somewhat rectangular in nature, and some of the sand traps literally are rectangles. I did fine, but it's so hard to play when it's slow for me. I have to be in a rhythm. I have to have a pace.
Well, you and your partner are part of the problem because nobody. Here's the thing. Was it just you two, or did they put up two other people with you?
We paired up with Ray and
okay. Because
they were nice.
Again, part of my slow play can be solved.
Yes.
The morons that are supposed to be the so-called rangers don't send a twosome off and then a foursome and then a twosome and then a threesome and a onesome.
No. The starter has to take control of that, and they had complete control of it at the course. It's just had too many groups on the tee sheet, but they want to make money, and that's fine. The county's put an investment into their course. I wish we would see that closer to home, but we do in other counties. Well, we do in Marion County and we do in some other counties, but regardless, this is not a civics show. QB, I came across some things as, watching, we're in Wimbledon right now and we're in, I don't really know baseball, but I keep thinking about football. Name for me, QB, since we have no other topic right now.
We have nothing to talk about, quite honestly. Well, go ahead.
Just name for me. There are 5 schools in the Southeastern Conference that have not won a football conference championship. Can you name? And Vanderbilt doesn't count. We don't count
name them all.
Huh?
I can name them all, probably. Missouri.
Well, there's 5.
Missouri, Vanderbilt, South Carolina.
Yes.
Texas A&M.
Yes.
How many is that?
4.
So there's one more. That would be Arkansas.
Yes, and there are only 2 with 1. Can you name those 2?
Yes, that would be. Yeah, I know this. It's very. I don't know when the hell they won them, but it was like the Kentucky Wildcats and the Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Yeah, wow, good for you. You must have seen that.
I mean, the Ole Miss Rebels have 6, JC. And Georgia Tech, by the way, has 5. They're not even in that thing. So
yeah, does Tulane have any? Well, for all those watching, the Florida Fighting Gators have as many as Auburn, and that would be 8. And then that is preceded by LSU with 12, Tennessee with 13, Georgia has 14, and we know who has 29. But that's good guessing on your part, QB. You are up to date.
Yes. All right. Some house cleaning stuff here. They're going to post this on the Facebook, the YouTube, all the different platforms. We're having a contest, JC.
Yeah.
And these people, here's what it says. I didn't make this stuff up. These are the great people behind the scenes. Do you want to have dinner with Gators football color analyst and podcast extraordinaire, Shane Matthews? This is your chance to grab a friend and have dinner with our host at the flagship restaurant of the Gator Nation Spurs Gridiron Grill.
All right.
All you have to do, JC. Tell me if you know how to do this.
Okay.
You got to be a follower of PodUp with Matthews in the morning. Tag the lucky Gator you're bringing with you, and invite 3 people to follow our page.
Well,
so I don't know how you do all that, but that's what we're going to do. So all our listeners do that. I don't know when they're going to pick the winner. I think it's going to go on for a month.
Yeah, it should. You should hopefully get to do it.
We may bring you to eat, JC. Would you like to come?
I'll go. Yeah, I'll go. If you invite me, I will be there. I will be there.
They may want your autograph, JC.
But I'll be there. And listen, I mean, 4 days now, 62, something like that until we get going. Or is it less than that? It's got to be less. It is less.
Tony says, do we get to witness Shane opening his wallet? I didn't put it together, Tony, so no. This is going to be complimentary of the podcast / Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. I don't know.
Somebody's paying for it. They're big.
Yeah, I ain't paying for it. Dan says no hats at the dinner table, JC. No hats.
No hats. Okay, fine. That's all good. It's a 5-star restaurant. But I'm ready to go. Listen, I'll wear a hat up advisors though. I got no problem with that. It's a visor.
Ruzoga State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. We got JC on the Titan Tomorrow hotline. JC, I got a ton of text here on the Titan Tomorrow text line. I'm not going to, I mean, there's literally probably 25 of them. I didn't read them all because I know what they're all about because it's about the $400 so-called renovation of Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. 400 million. Yeah. Which probably be more than that when it's all said and done. A lot of people are upset about it because they feel like we should be spending money on other things other than renovating the stadium. Now you're a guy who loves to travel to venues and watch live sporting events. And
I do.
You always talk about the amenities.
Yes.
Obviously, this stadium was built, I think, in 1930, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Yeah. It's an
Um,
iconic stadium, but it is so
yeah. So
outdated now.
I don't think they're not gonna change the way it looks. They may take a few seats out, put some more comfortable seats in, change the concourses, the bathrooms do need to be changed.
The concourses.
I will tell you this: the radio booth is probably the worst that I've been in.
Yeah.
But it's an old
It's,
stadium. It is what
yeah.
it is.
It's way overdue, and credit to Scott Strickland. I think when he first got to Gainesville, this was going to be one of his big projects, because it can lead to so many other things. But comfort for the fans is of primary importance. You will not get fans to be bench seating has got to be replaced with regular seating. That's just, we're not Vanderbilt, we're not Missouri, we're not
Well, Alabama has bench seating.
it's awful. I agree. Denton Stadium's a dump. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It's too far away from the field. It's not as loud as LSU, and yet it holds just as many fans as LSU Stadium does. And Tennessee, God, if you've ever walked in Neyland Stadium, these places are so outdated.
Now, I will say
old.
this: Neyland Stadium last year, because I walked across the field and then up to the press box, they have on the home side from probably the 30 to the 30 on their lower level are cushioned chairbacks.
Okay, that's great. But you walk outside the stadium in the south end zone, the place literally looks like it could collapse at any minute. It's that old. It's that bad. And so, the SEC and the presidents and the athletic directors and these athletic departments aren't going to invest in these stadiums because they're about to sign a $1 billion+ contract with ESPN or some TV network. It's got to be ESPN, of course. And they're going to have money to use to improve the experience for the fans because they are in the selling business. I have said this, and Scott Strickland was quoted as saying that exact thing. You are selling a product. You are trying to get people to spend discretionary dollars, and you want them to cheer for your team and show up and not sit at home and watch it on TV all the time. And they've got to improve the comfort of it and the facilities. Look, try walking through the west side of Florida Field at halftime. It's impossible. The east side of Florida Field at halftime is impossible. You cannot walk through there. You bump into people standing in line. It is stuck in the 70s, and we need to upgrade, and that's what they're going to do. And I say kudos to the decision makers for finally coming around to make this happen. They're going to have the money to do it when they sign their TV contract for each school. At some point, I know somehow they're going to be able to pay for this, and it's going to improve everybody's experience. It's going to take a couple of years, of course, but it's at least in the planning stage. They're going to hire the architects, and it is a great thing because they are in the selling business of entertaining fans with their discretionary dollars. And if you like the football team, that's an added bonus.
JC, Joseph has a Facebook Live brought to you by Meldon Law comment here. I want to see what your thoughts are. He says, reducing it to 70,000 seats, the swamp won't have the same effect on opposing teams.
Well, what are they getting anyway? 80, 85,000.
I think what does it actually seat? 88,
I think
89?
I think the actual capacity, if every seat was full, is close to 90,000 or at 90,000. And I think that it's unnecessary, to be honest with you, because when you're sitting in the stadium, you're not sitting. You're either standing on the east side or you're literally bunched in like sardines on the west side. It is not a comfortable.
So would you like to know what I would do to the stadium?
Sure. I mean, you're a stadium kind of guy like me. I mean, I love it.
I mean, I love like I mean I don't like to I don't want to change what the venue looks like. And this because I love Tiger Stadium. I actually like Neyland Stadium. I like what it's about. I mean, it is a dump, but I love how it's on the river.
Yeah,
but,
no, it's true. But
Andy says,
yeah,
my research folks, Andy says the actual capacity is supposed to be 88,548, but we all know there's been over 90-something thousand people in there. Here's what I would do.
Yeah,
I would take from the 30, maybe from the 20 to the 20 on the home side, which is the west side.
All right.
The lower level up to that, there's that first concourse where those little tunnels are. I would go from there to there, from the 20 or the 25 to 25. I'd take a few seats out and make those all chairbacks.
Okay.
I wouldn't do a damn thing to the visiting side and the student section. Students need to sit on benches. Okay. In the south end zone, that lower level, I would keep some seats and probably make them some chair backs, but around the tunnel that the Gators run out of, I would I would make it where it's some type of like a pavilion mezzanine area with like tables, and Kentucky did this in one of their upper decks for recruits and their families to be able to like sit and actually see the damn football game. But also part of that section would be for former players to be able to hang out.
I like
That's all
it.
I would do to this damn stadium.
Well,
And
I
now,
like that.
obviously, they're going to do new scoreboard, sound system, bathrooms, and all that. But I'm talking about from the
They
seating
need that.
capacity. That's all I would do.
Well, and I think they have to expand the concourses in some form or fashion if that's possible. I'm not an architect, but QB Scott Strickland oversaw a lot of improvements at Davis Wade Stadium in Starkville,
Right.
one of which was an experience for fans that like to be on club level, on field level. Not everybody likes that, but it sold out every single year and they expanded it. So it was popular and people liked it. And that was right on field level behind the goalpost in the end zone. There's also a levels above that in the end zone. Called the Champions something, and then there's a bunch of premium seating along the I guess it would be the east side of Davis Wade. He oversaw that improvement. He's going to do the same at Florida Field. It's going to be a great place to watch a game. Not that it isn't, but it is not comfortable. When I go to that game, I have to be in some sort of controlled environment. I can't sit for like I have in 40 years, 40 straight years in that bench area on the west side. My dad had season tickets at the 38-yard line, the 42-yard line for 45 years, 15 rows up on the west side, and it was so cool being that close to the players in the field. But you couldn't move. It was impossible, and it was not comfortable as things got bigger and better here. So, it's a great initiative. I think it's going to take about 2 or 3 years, but fans are going to love it when it comes out and when the final product is presented. And it'll be a great experience.
Yeah, Tony says on Facebook Live he loves my idea. JB says the swamp is iconic and should be uncomfortable. New jumbotrons in the north and south end zone is all we need.
Well,
Tony
listen,
says,
people were
wish we
bitching
could-
about. Go ahead.
No, just they're talking about love to do what A&M did, but we're not going to be able to do that. Andy wants to know what would I do to the press box where I work. The press box area is fine. What it is it's just old. We're not in an enclosed. We're in like this little. I mean, I kid you not. It is so tight in there, and it's like one of the overhangs from the. I don't know if it's the Champions Club hangs over, and Mick, and now I think Mick and no, Sean still broadcasts from the same side, but literally it's only about 6 to 8 feet wide. The box that we're in. Right. But we can't see the scoreboards. We can't see the jumbotrons.
Right.
You can't see them at all.
I mean, that's part of the problem, isn't it? I
mean, and so, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do, Andy, but yeah, they do need new broadcast booths for sure, because they don't compare to anything like the opponents. And it's hot as hell too. I mean, I wear shorts.
Yeah.
Because it's hot.
It's just hot. The place needs to be upgraded. Why people would be against upgrading something that's obsolete is beyond me, but it's money well spent. It's going to improve everything, and the experience is what the Gator fans have to have. I mean, I go into the touchdown club. That's in the end zone, north end zone. It seems to be getting more and more crowded each year because more and more opportunities to get in there are being sold because there's more demand for it, because it's the most, or one of the most comfortable areas to be. And of course you have everything, I call it the hotel on the west side. And that's just part of expansion, and change is inevitable. You have to have these things, man. You have them everywhere else. The Champions, the club up at Alabama, I talked about how lousy that stadium is, but that Champions Club they have over there, it's the Four Seasons, dude. It's the Ritz-Carlton. And that's I think Florida can certainly match that. They should.
Yeah. So now I would add, and there's one other thing I would add to if I was renovating this place.
Yeah.
I would put another set of touchdown terrace in the south end zone. Terrace. So the south end zone would be where I would really focus. I would go touchdown terrace. I put a south end zone touchdown terrace. Then I would put my terrace level for recruits and former player section.
Okay.
And then I would do the chairback seating on the home alumni side on the lower bowl. and then obviously all the bells and whistles everywhere else. But from seeding and adding on, that's all I would do. We'll see if they listen to me. You think Scott Strickland's listening today?
I don't think it would hurt him to. If he isn't, he ought to. But Scott's into this kind of thing. He's into that kind of growth. That's what he does, and that's what he did at Mississippi State, dude. Davis Wade Stadium, I think, is the second oldest football stadium after Wallace Wade Stadium at Duke University. So other than those two, yeah, he did great things over there at Davis.
Or Davis and Wallace, were they kin?
They gotta be, don't they? I mean, back in the early 20th century, I mean, I think they have to be. But it's a good experience for fans who want to pay for that, and that's and the demand there is absolutely there. And it didn't hurt that Dan Mullen took that team to #1 in the nation in 2014 when those clubs opened. It didn't hurt that at all. And then all of a sudden there was a waiting list for the Gridiron Club and some of these other clubs that they had. So that's what you want to do, is you want to create a waiting list to get into these premium areas, and then the university's margins will go up. That's the point.
So Daryl says on the Titan More text line, he would love to have chairbacks in the north end zone. He says we're cramped like sardines. So maybe what I would do is I would chairback the lower bowl from the north on the west side
to the east,
and the south side, and leave the student section and all the opponents. Now I know a lot of maybe you do a section in like around the 50 on the opposing team, because that's where they put the players' parents over there. They're over there. So, but I wouldn't, whatever. But
Daryl's right. I mean, they do have chairback seats up in the sunshine deck, but try sitting up there in the afternoon in September. That's just pure misery. Nobody likes it. I'm sorry, it is not fun. And then if it's not burning you up like an oven, you're getting poured on with rain. So I think it's you need night games. Night games have helped. At least recently on the schedule, we've had some early September night games, and that the Utah game last year was a night game. That was great. South Florida game last year was a night game. That was great. That's important. You just can't do it at 12 noon or 3:30 without some sort of weather issue. It's just too hard these days.
All right, JC, we got a financial question for you here from Dan. He says, do you think the new ESPN SEC contract will be as large as they have predicted, with all the firings and Disney having financial problems?
Well, what was the predictions? I can't quite remember. Was it 90?
You talking about each team in the league? Isn't it around 80, 90 million?
Yeah, something to that effect. So just do the math. I don't know. That's too hard to answer. I can tell you that the Disney stock price is reflective of how the company's doing, and that's not good right now. In fact, it's awful. So I don't know if it has anything to do with ESPN. Probably a lot of it does. But there's other issues with Disney. But Walt Disney is the parent company. They are the ones who make the decision in Orange County and in the boardroom for what these guys at the SEC are going to bargain with. And I don't know what the offer is going to be, but I do think it's going to be more than what the other conferences are going to get for obvious reasons. And I think the Big Ten and the SEC are the two conferences right now that clearly have a financial advantage over conferences like the ACC, the now Big 16, Big 14, and the Pac-10. It's the Pac-10. It's the Big 16, the Pac-10, the ACC, which I don't know. That conference is just in turmoil. And then you have the Big 14. And the Big 14, they're in expansion mode. They're buying. They're out there buying. Don't be surprised if you see a San Diego State or somebody like that hop in as well.
All right, JC, I want your comments on Joseph's question or comment here, brought to you by Mellon Law. He says, something to think about. If Billy Napier doesn't pan out, Scott Strickland is the next one fired. I'd wait before putting the whole renovation up to him. Well, it's not up to him. They have a committee doing all this.
Yeah, I think the thing with Strickland is that this is an important hire. Obviously, Napier has to succeed to keep people from complaining, obviously. But I think with what we've seen off the field with the recruiting, it's going to be really hard for me to not see Florida back to 10 wins and be competitive again, unless things just somehow don't pan out. QB, you can't have recruiting go this well and be this lousy. It's going to get better. It has to. And once things get better, I don't think.
Well, they haven't had the good recruits haven't played ball yet. So you got to let them play.
That's true, but you got to start somewhere, and that's right. You're correct. But I keep warning everybody about these verbal commitments. They are not binding. Just know this: once the season starts, you have to have success. I think to keep these binding commitments solid. But yes, I think Scott Strickland would have or hear it from the walls if Billy doesn't pan out. I think that's pretty obvious, don't you, QB?
Yeah.
Yeah.
YouTube comment question here from William. He says, so if they reduce the capacity, how will they go about deciding on who gets first dibs of season tickets?
These are above my pay grade, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
it makes sense. If you let's just say they take 15, 20,000 seats out.
Yeah.
Obviously they're going to be making it more comfortable for your season ticket holders. So it will be interesting to see who loses out, because somebody's going to have to lose out.
I don't even know how many season ticket holders Florida has. So, if they're going to take capacity from 88 to 90,000 down to 72 or 70, that could be seats that are not bought and paid for throughout the entire season. And that could be on the east side. It could be in the end zones. But I think the west side is paramount to being good for the viewership and for the real money that pays for this program. And that is on the west side and in the end zone on the north side. That's it. That's where it is. That's where all the money is. And they're going to put a premium and a priority on those people and those seats because they're the ones writing the checks. That's clear. That's clear as day. That's where the priorities are going to lie. And I love your idea in the south end zone for former players and recruits and so forth at field level.
I mean, the recruiting setup is just horrible.
Yeah, you got them sitting in bleachers. Got them sitting in bleachers.
They're sitting in bleachers that you go out here to Diamond Sports Park and sit in and watch a ball game.
It's
they did make it a little bit nicer when Billy got here. I don't know how, but they did.
But it's crap.
Andy wants to know, JC, did you listen to Sean Kelly's play-by-play of yesterday's Yankees-Orioles game on ESPN Radio?
Was he on? No, I was listening to Michael Kay on the highlight reel. I just saw Gleyber Torres stretch a single into a run from first base. The Yankees played great yesterday. They won. They're in the middle of it. Harrison Bader. Hey.
So now you like the Yankees again?
I'm just saying they've got a winning record. They're playing better baseball. They've had injuries up and down the lineup, which is nothing new, and it frustrates all us great Yankee fans. But the fact of the matter is that they're in a division with the team that's playing the best baseball in Major League Baseball and with the best record. So, they're hanging in there. It's a wild card team. It's clearly a wild card team, I think. But once they get everybody healthy, we had a perfect game in Oakland last week for one of their pitchers whose spot starts. I mean, sometimes he plays, sometimes he doesn't. But if these guys get healthy, and we don't even have Aaron Judge in the lineup right now, QB. So, I mean, if they can get healthy and the pitching holds up and Severino gets back and they get a solid pitching staff, Cortez, Severino, Herman, and Garrett Cole, I think the Yankees are absolutely going to be a factor. It's at least for a wild card spot. So, but, how do you bet against the Houston Astros right now? And the way the Rays are playing, it's hard to see them collapsing. They're too good to collapse. They've just got too many good players. So I think the Yankees are in a tough spot, but I think they'll compete and they'll be in the picture. Yeah, I do think that.
All right, real quick, we got some more text regarding Wimbledon and Ben Shelton. I believe his match, I think, got rained out or something.
Well, it was suspended. He won the first. He won the first set, so he was ahead when they ran him off the court because of the rain. The rain, however, is all gone now, and they're going to have matches. Literally, they started 2.5 hours ago. Remember, England's 5 hours ahead of us, so they started 2 hours ago at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I will tell you right now how our guy is doing because he won the first set of his match, and then the second set, I think he was actually winning that too. And it's a great story. And Brian and Ben are a team together, and we're rooting like hell for them. I hope to see them win.
Why did I think that the Wimbledon championships were always around 4th of July? Why did I think that?
Well, I don't know. Maybe because that's what you remember from maybe the past, and maybe that's the case. But that's kind of when it's now starting. Ben Shelton is up 4-2 in the second set right now against somebody from Japan named Daniel. And
you sure he's from Japan? His name is Daniel?
It's got the flag. It's got the rising sun. But Ben Shelton is the 32nd seed. So he's a seeded player in this tournament. And, his bracket is tough. He's got Tsitsipas from Greece in there. He's got Alcaraz, I think, on his side as well. We all know who that is, the U.S. Open champion. But it's Djokovic's to win until somebody beats him. He is the defending Wimbledon champion. He's got more Grand Slams than anybody. And, Nadal is not there. Federer is not there. He's too old. And it's Alcaraz. It's Alcaraz, it's Djokovic, and a couple other guys maybe. But that's, it's turning into something kind of like what golf was a while back when we had 4 or 5 guys just beating everybody's brains out. But on the men's side, Ben is right there. He's up 4-2 in the second set. You have to win 3 out of 5 on the men's side. I tried playing a singles match about a month ago. It was 2 out of 3 sets. And how these guys can play 3 out of 5 is beyond me. It is hard.
Okay. Really JC, we got Franz Beard. I'm going to get his thoughts on the stadium stuff. He's waiting. But real quick, give me 2 golfers for the John Deere Classic for the Peachland Dental picks.
Give me the old-time favorite, Zach Johnson. And I'm going to go with gee whiz, QB. I don't even know who's playing in this. Let me see here. Just give me 1 second. I'll give you a name.
I'm gonna tell you my 2 picks. I'm going with Chris Kirk and Eric Cole.
Eric Cole? Eric Cole. Okay, don't know him. All right, I'll take that guy, Zach Johnson, a former winner, and I'll take oh my gosh, QB, this is I will take
just take the first guy you see.
But I don't want to just okay. I'll take I've never really heard of some of these guys. I have no idea who they are. I'm going to go with I know you're
just pick somebody. Franz is waiting.
Okay, Franz. I'm sorry, buddy. Let me go with Richie Warinsky.
All right, Richie Warinsky. All right, JC, go hit the tennis ball. We'll talk to you on Friday. That's JC. Join us on the Titan More Hotline. Take a quick time out, and we'll be joined by Franz Beard, Gator Bait Media. Get his thoughts on this renovation of Gator football. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte.
Campus USA Credit Union.
QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, and watch. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wibby, Realtor Caldwell Banker, M.M. Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Aver and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Q Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith understands your joint pain.
It does not surprise me that there are a ton of people out there that's in pain.
That's why Emmitt is such a proponent of QC Kinetics, offering real lasting joint pain relief with non-surgical, all-natural biologic treatments.
Whether it's a joint pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, any kind of pain, the body eventually will break down when it's under that much stress.
That stress can cloud your judgment to the point that you'll just say yes to the scalpel or yes to another prescription of pain pills. But maybe it's time for a second opinion from QC Kinetics.
The reason why I would recommend this is because the natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
Restorative, regenerative solutions are here. Get lasting relief and live your life.
Call QC Kinetics 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration points where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Visor, Rooftop, Bass Pro Shops, Dave & Buster's, Fat Tuesday, Starbucks, and the HBC's restaurant. Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, the hottest restaurant in Florida, in the heart of Gator Nation. That's Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Gonna head to the Take No More Hotline now. We're joined by Franz Beer from Gator Bait Media. Hope you had a good 4th of July, friends. I wanted to get you on because a couple things. Let's first start before we talk about the renovations of the swamp. John Bolt, big 7'2" center, decommitted from the Gators. What can you tell us about that?
Well, a lot of it is being pinpointed toward NIL, and to an extent, that's true. But here's what I believe is going on. He has an agent named Chris Wash, represents a bunch of kids and everything. I believe that he is being directed toward Overtime Elite. That is this group out of Atlanta. They pay the kids $100,000 and so forth like that. They've got their hooks in the kids in a lot of ways, but they did produce the 4th and the 5th choices in the recent NBA draft. And my belief is that he is going to go with Overtime Elite because here's the thing. He becomes a professional basketball player then, and he can go directly to the NBA without having to sit out a year. And I think that's the goal right there, is to get him into the NBA as quickly as possible. I think we're going to see a lot of this happening. And I think the one way to combat it is to end this silly one and done rule. And it is silly, Shane. If a kid's good enough to go, let him go. Basketball's unlike football because there's no way in football that you could play 100 games in a summer. And these kids will do that. Their high school season will end. They'll get on travel ball teams and they'll go play 6, 7, 8 games in a weekend, and they do that enough times, next thing you know, they've got 80, 100 games under their belts. They do this over a 5-6 year period. They've got experience that you cannot get in football. Football, you get, you're still growing. I don't know about you. You may have played when you were a sophomore, but most high school kids don't play when they're sophomores. They're playing JV ball. So they really have about, maybe 20, 25 games of actual experience. And they're still growing and still developing. Basketball kids can go straight to the NBA. They're that good. They've got that much experience. I've only seen maybe one guy in my life that I thought could have gone directly to the NFL out of high school. I've seen very, very few that I thought could have done it after their freshman year. So,
yeah. All right, so we got a bunch of text here for you, Franz. Let's start with this one. It's from Jeremy on the Titan MR text line. He says, will the new upgrades to the swamp kill any possibility of the Jaguars coming to play in Gainesville? I don't know if that would happen. When are these renovations supposed to start taking place?
That's the first thing. That right now, the one thing they've done is they've commissioned an architectural study, which means that they're going to put this thing out for bid, and architects are going to have to come up with plans and so forth like that. They put it up for a bid because this is even though the UAA is a private organization per se, it is hooked to the University of Florida. Therefore, everything has to go out for bid. So the first stage is you get you announce that you want to have plans, you put it up for architectural bid, and several firms will compete for it. Then they'll make a choice of it. I figure they're going to probably be a year away from just having the architectural plans revealed. Maybe 6 months, but it'll be a while anyway. And at that point in time, then they have to make a decision about when they're going to do this. Now, the Jags are, they've committed to play in Jacksonville 24 and 25. they signed the extension there. So the Jags, that means the Jags are committed to Jacksonville until that point. That would mean 26, 27 would be the first years they could do it. So it's entirely possible that they could have this architectural study done by next spring and have the complete renovations done by 2025. So it, technically speaking, it wouldn't necessarily eliminate the Jags from coming to Gainesville. My personal opinion is the Jags are going to go play in Orlando.
Yeah, that's what I think too. So, do you think, because Dan says on Facebook Live, wouldn't the Jacksonville Stadium be finished first? Maybe the Gators go play in Jacksonville for a year. Do you think it's going to be a situation where we will have to play home games elsewhere? Or they, because I know that I've been to many college stadiums where they're doing renovations. Cranes are everywhere, but they're still having home games. I just can't see us giving up home games. Am I wrong there, friends?
We're not going to give up home games, and number one. And number two, remember this. In 2012, the Aggies joined the SEC, and they knocked out half of their stadium and had it up and functioning in one swell foop. And then the next year, 2013, they did the other half. So that by 2014, they had a stadium that had seated 84,000 and it seated 102,000, and they transformed a dump into a palace. And that's what they did in Aggie land. It can be done. They never missed a home game.
Yeah, I think we can get it done for sure. Silverback Concrete, this is a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists that build commercial structures with unrivaled quality. Silverback Concrete, you stand on it, we stand by it. A few more minutes with Franz Beard on the Titan MR hotline. Real quick, this was a recruiting question. Let me get back up here that Andy had regarding the number one running back, I think in the 2025 class, Harlem Berry. It's the nephew of the Gators running back coach. Do you think that gives us a leg up recruiting him?
Oh, absolutely. It gives Florida a leg up recruiting. And I'll tell you what else gives Florida a leg up recruiting, and that is the fact that the Gators are still a hot team. Now, they lost an offensive tackle to Georgia over the weekend, but I never thought Florida really had a shot at this kid anyway. And right now, Georgia's getting the linemen. And until they get knocked off, until they have a problem up there, they're going to continue to recruit at a high level. Now, personally, if I'm a parent, I'd be very concerned about what I see going on up there. And I'm of the opinion, Shane, that Georgia is going to implode. You look at every single dynasty. Somebody wrote about it this weekend, about all the potential dynasties. They wrote about Southern Cal and what happened there. They wrote about what happened at Florida under Urban Meyer and so forth like that. Every single dynasty that has been plagued by off the field problems has crumbled. Southern Cal did it. They had the Reggie Bush thing, and people tend to forget after the Reggie Bush thing, they were not in contention for a national championship again. For the most part, the rest of the time, they didn't play for another national championship after 2005. Florida won 2006, LSU 2007, Florida 2008, Alabama 2009, and Pete Carroll was gone to the NFL in 2010. So they crumbled. Florida, what has happened to Florida since Urban Meyer? The Florida dynasty that was in the making has crumbled. Florida, from 1990 until 2009, Florida won more football games than any program in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at what's happened since. I think we're like 33rd now. in the years since then, maybe 34th, but it's down the pack. Dan Mullen had 3 good seasons. Jim McElwain had a couple, and Will Muschamp had 1. And other than that, Florida's been very mediocre. Very. I think that Florida's recruiting, if Billy Napier can keep the off the field problems completely gone as he has, or at a bare minimum, then I think Florida is going to be on the rise. And I think at some point the Georgia dynasty is going to crumble, and it may happen this year. I think there's some consternation up in Athens about what's going on there, and I think that it's going to take a toll when the inmates run the asylum. Bad things happen.
Good point. And you're right. I mean, I can't think of anything of the people that Billy Napier brought in here, any issues at all. Brandon says on Facebook Live that he saw a stat: if LSU football wins the Natty this year, then that will mean that all 3 of LSU AD Scott Woodward's hires in a 7-month span will have won a national championship in 2 years. That's pretty impressive if it happens.
It's extremely impressive. And he's gone out and spent the money, Shane. That's the thing about it. He got Kim Mulkey from Baylor. She's now the highest paid second highest paid. Gino Auriemma up at UConn is the highest paid, but they pay Kim Mulkey more than $2 million a year. Quite frankly, we could have had Kim Mulkey here. Back when she was at Baylor, she had just won 1 national championship, and we hired Amanda Butler instead. Kim would have cost us upwards of $750,000 to $1 million, and they hired Amanda Butler for about $300,000. Scott Woodward has been willing to put the money into their programs. He hired Jay Johnson from Arizona, and Jay's now one of the 2 or 3 highest paid coaches. He makes more than Sully. They hired him for close to $2 million, and they brought in Brian Kelly. They're paying him $10 million a year. They're paying the coaches to come in there and win, and there has to be that kind of commitment. You don't do that without a commitment to paying your coaches, to giving them the money to get the right assistant coaches in, and then giving them the money for a recruiting budget that's unparalleled.
All right, we got a last thing for you. We'll get you out of here. This is a text on the Titan Mar text line from Howard in Madison, Wisconsin. He's been listening to the show all day. We've been talking earlier with JC about the renovations. A lot of people don't want to reduce capacity, all that kind of stuff. He wants to know, Franz, what would you do if you were in charge of renovating the swamp?
Well, a decent press box. We have the worst. The only one worse than Florida's is Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt's is because it's I've seen high school press boxes better than what they have at Vanderbilt. Although they do give you a nice spread of cheese and grapes and brie and other things like that. We can't be having hot dogs and stuff like that. This is Vanderbilt. But I'd start there. But no, they've got to increase the space. They've got to give room for concessions. They've got to get the concourses wider within the stadium and things like that. It's going to result in reduced capacity. I think they're going to go from 88,000 back down to about 84,000. And that's not a bad number. You look at Auburn. Auburn's at 84,000, and they was at 84. They're at 87. They could increase it, but they've kept it at a minimum there. And I think they're going to use the Auburn example as what they're going to do with this. Auburn could increase it. Florida could increase the capacity, but that would mean shoehorning more people in. I think they're going to add a few inches to each seat put chair backs in, things like that. Make it a more comfortable seating. They can't change. There's basic things they can't change. It's a steep stadium, as you know. You're down in a hole. It goes down way down there. If you got heart conditions, you don't want to be sitting down in the lower levels, quite frankly. And so what they're going to do is they're going to just widen seats and stuff like that, put chair backs in, and that may, see the capacity go down from 88 maybe to say 86, 85, maybe even down to 84,000. But it'll be a more comfortable stadium. And I know people say, well, we don't want to reduce capacity. But you look at this, everybody in the country, with the exception of maybe Alabama and a couple others, everybody is faced with the fact that more people are staying at home watching the game on 70-inch big screen TVs and high def, where you can see the sweat come off the helmet of the guys when they make a hit. And they're not going to the ball yard. They're looking at the cost of tickets, the tickets prices. This is going to cost $400 million. How are you going to pay for it? One of the ways you're going to pay for it is ticket prices are going to go up. They got to. Mm-hmm. People are looking at, okay, my family of 4 to go to a ball game. I got to make a booster contribution to get a decent seat. Even the bad seats and the nosebleeds are going to cost me $75 a ticket for a decent game or more. A family of 4 for that. Then you throw in the concessions. You get 4 hot dogs. A hot dog's $5. That's $20 for 4 hot dogs. A couple of drinks, etc. Like, you're talking about a $300-$400 excursion plus gas, hotels, etc. They are going to have to widen their, somebody's got to pay for this. So ticket prices are going to go up. Capacity is going to go down a little bit, but capacity is already going down a bit in respect to the fact that attendance is down. How many games did Florida actually completely sell out where you couldn't see spaces, where you couldn't see empty seats? Utah last year, that was one of them. Tell me another game that you really that you couldn't see open seats, and hard to imagine, but we didn't have any. LSU was sold out. Yeah, that one too. But those are the only 2 games I can think of where I couldn't stand around and look and see splotches of empty seats, or maybe they were filled and people just were hanging around the concourse. I don't know, but it looks. But this is something they're going to have to deal with anyway. Is fewer people are coming to ball games because of the price, for one thing, and the other thing is a lot of people are saying it's 100 degrees outside. Mm-hmm. I'm air conditioned at home. I don't have to get a skinny weenie. I can get one of the fat ones that you get at Sam's. I can drink as much beer as I want to, and I don't have to drive. I don't have to stand in line next to a drunk when I'm peeing. You look at the things that are the comforts of home. A lot of people figure are more valuable than being there at the ballpark. They watch the game, they get the slow motion replays, everything like that, and they have their own lounge chair to watch it in. So,
very true. Friends, we ran out of time.
They're not going to put lounge chairs in Ben Hill Griffin. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Franz, we appreciate your time, my man, as always. Good stuff. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon, bud.
Take care.
That's Franz Beard. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. You can check all his stuff out at GatorBaitMedia.com. Let's get to This Day in Sports, brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union. This Day in Sports. Well, dadgummit, I lost my spot here, but we'll just read this one right here. That in 1998 at the Wimbledon, Men's tennis, Pete Sampras beats Goran I can't even pronounce his name, but wins the singles crown. That's in I'm telling you, the July 4th and 5th is when the dang Wimbledon used to end. Because I remember watching it when we were always at the beach on July 4th. It was always on that morning. So they must have changed the date of it. Hope you enjoyed today's program. Again, look out for the new contests that we're going to have. Have all your friends and family follow our programs on all the different platforms. And we will see you tomorrow. Take care, folks.